We are so freaking back. I know I'm saying this a little bit early, but please just give me this one. I'm wearing my Lucky Buffalo shirt, and more importantly than that, we had a nice green day, and when I say nice, I mean we didn't have any crazy off-the-wall news that ruined the party. It was a beautiful trend from the bottom left to the top right, and man oh man was it easy to make some dinero, and I very much hope that you got yours. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down all the news that happened today, the things that you might have missed, but most importantly, what to look forward to conclude the week, aka TGIF, Old Friday, Payday Friday. I want to break down the things you should be paying attention to. With all that being said, if you enjoy these type of market breakdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good jazz. So with all that being said, let's rock. By the time the world's largest casino went ding-a-ding-ding-ding-ding on the day, here was the official headline. S&P 500 and the Nasdaq closed higher for the third straight day, fueled by tech gains. I don't know if you saw the semiconductor industry, but man, oh man, was it ripping. So here's a look at the overall market. The SPY gaining a nice 2.1%, the Nasdaq gaining 2.8%, Palantir crushing it up 6.9%, and Nvidia, just one of the many semiconductors, gaining a buttload today. And it wasn't just these things on the screen, it was everything. Here's a heat map of the S&P 500. There was a little bit of weakness, I guess, in the beverages industry. Don't know what's going on there. Don't really care because I'm liking all this neon bullish green blasting back in my face. So what in the world happened today? Well, it was kind of interesting because when I left you guys all yesterday, we had this he said, she said, and Trump and the White House press secretary, they both said, yes, we are talking with China, things are going well, and we think it's going to be good. And then all of a sudden they said, no, it's not. And we woke up to some really weird news. President Xi Jinping is ratcheting up China's pain threshold for a long fight with Trump. Censorship and surveillance have kept the Communist Party in control and are getting stronger. So this was basically a lot of confusion because yesterday we were getting some good news. And then at one point in the middle of the day, the Treasury Secretary said, yeah, if we strike a deal with China, it actually might take 2 to 3 years. Market didn't like that. We got news that they were talking, but there was a lot of just contradictory information. And then overnight, it got a bit worse. China bets Trump will back down on tariffs. Chinese officials call for full repeal of levies and dismiss suggestions that trade talks with Washington have begun. Now, please understand, this came after we heard rumors that Trump might actually bring down the tariffs to 145 and then other sectors even lower. And very quickly, they said, nah, honey. China says no ongoing trade talks with the US, calls for canceling the quote-unquote unilateral tariffs. At present, there are absolutely no negotiations on the economy and trade between China and US. If the US really wants to resolve the problem, it should cancel all the unilateral measures on China. Once again, I cannot stress this enough of the confusion of anyone paying attention to the market or a degen trader like myself of how confusing this all was because we got good news, it got squashed, it got worse, then it got really bad, and then all of a sudden it was fine and they were talking again because not too long into the day, Trump says US talks with China on trade after Beijing's denial. So he's saying, I'm telling the truth. They're not the ones who are a truther. I'm the truther. They're the liar. I'm not the liar. Got really, really confusing. Anyway, breaking. President Trump says he met with China this morning and the Nasdaq obviously started to rip. I mean, the overall market's gaining over 2%. And as I'm about to show you, had a nice technical breakout. But before we get to that, look at this. Trump yesterday, we are talking with China every day. So this is offering a little bit of clarification on why both sides might technically be telling you the truth, but here's what Trump had to say himself.
Mr. President, has there been any direct contact between the U.S. and China trade at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
every day.
So to absolutely no one's surprise, of course, a journalist is going to ask about this because it's kind of the hot news of the day as it relates to the trade war. And those two words, every day, was enough to send everything in all of our portfolios from the bottom left to the top right. And I am not complaining. Now, for the next story, of course, it's not as big as the China story, but it is still representative of the overall trade situation. Trump says he expects to reach a deal with Norway on tariffs. So remember, there's 180 plus other countries still involved in this. And as more and more positive deals come in, yes, I do assume that's going to be good for the market. Speaking of the market, let me talk about the technical breakout. We had this day, the record-setting day, Wednesday, April 9th. It was the biggest single day gain in the entire stock market history. And that came when Trump said, hey, China, you're going up to 145. Everyone else, 90-day pause. You're coming down to 10%. Granted, the next day we almost had a circuit breaker halt, but let's forget about that. Ever since that day, we have not broken that range until now. Finally, Today, we took out that high. Granted, it was just a little, but we finally broke the high, which is obviously setting the stage up for the upside gap fill to 5572 in the S&P 500. Obviously, if you want the SPY levels, just look at the low from Wednesday, April 2nd. But regardless, that is by definition a bullish breakout. And what's even better than that is when you look under the hood in the options market, not only are we seeing call buying and put selling, but in the short term, in the next couple weeks, every individual day, if you look at just that day's expiration date, has over the past couple days gone from put dominated to call dominated, which means yes, we are seeing officially more of a bullish constructive environment. So in the short term, yeah, my obvious call is an easy one. It's this upside gap fill to 5572, but a little bit of a caveat here is let's just barring any crazy news. So very excited, technical breakout, options are improving, and we see that bullish momentum. The golden question is how far is it going to go? With all that in mind, there are a couple other things to pay attention to. With respect to major macroeconomic events, not much going on. There are a couple of Fed speakers, but we are also in earnings season. As I'm filming this, Alphabet, aka Google, just came out. We're about to hear from Intel, and then we do have some more of the energy oil related companies before the market opens tomorrow. And please remember, next week is where we get even more of the big tech plays. But since Google just came out, let's take a sneak peek. Alphabet shares rise on strong revenue growth. And since we're here, we might as well hop in to see what's going on with Google. It is apparently up 4%. That is a nice gain in post-market trading. So that's going to be good for the tech sector. And heck, oh yeah, look at that. SPY and Q's, nice pop. So here is to a bullish continuation. Make sure you put on your lucky shirt because I think we're still going to need it. That's what I have for you. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know, comment below. I'll get back to as many of you as I possibly can. Other than that, I hope to see you in the live show tomorrow morning. Remember, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11, I am live degenerately trading my own account. I hope to see you there. That's what I have for you now. I appreciate the good vibes. I'll catch you in the next one.